What if I told you that you're probably wasting over $1,000 every single month on things that make your life worse, not better? I'm not talking about obvious luxuries. I'm talking about everyday purchases that companies have convinced you are normal, necessary, even smart. But here's the thing. They're not. And in 2026, the gap between what we pay and what we actually get has never been wider. You're paying premium prices for worse experiences. And the worst part? You've been conditioned to think this is just how it is now. Well, I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be. I stopped buying 10 specific things this year, and I'm saving over $1,000 every single month. And no, this is not about living in your parents' basement eating ramen. This is about getting smarter with your money while actually upgrading your quality of life. Because here's what nobody talks about. The companies selling you this stuff are banking on your guilt, your FOMO, and your exhaustion. And it's working. But not anymore. Today, I'm walking you through the 10 things I've cut from my budget in 2026, why each one is a total scam, and what I'm doing instead that's better and cheaper. So let's get into it. Hi, I'm Matt. On this channel, I break down smart money moves that actually work in the real world, and I help you build wealth without sacrificing your life. If you're tired of feeling like your money disappears every month, hit that subscribe button because we're about to plug some serious financial leaks. All right, number one on this list is something that drives me absolutely insane, and that's tipping for counter service. Now, before you come at me, I need to be clear. I'm not talking about tipping your server at a sit-down restaurant. That's always been part of the deal, and I have zero problem with it. I'm talking about those tablet screens that flip around when you're picking up a coffee or grabbing a muffin at a bakery. You know the ones. They're staring at you with 18, 20, 25% options. And the no tip button, it's hidden at the bottom in tiny font while the person behind the counter watches you make your choice. Here's what happened to me last week. I walked into a coffee shop, ordered a black drip coffee, and the barista pointed to the carafes on the counter and told me to pour it myself. Then she spun the tablet around and asked for a 20% tip. For what exactly? I did all the work. And this isn't just awkward, it's a calculated business strategy. These companies are using emotional manipulation to shift their labor costs onto you. They're literally making you feel guilty for not subsidizing their payroll. And it's working. The average person is now tipping 15 to 20% on transactions where there was zero service. We're talking about grabbing a pre-made sandwich from a cooler and scanning it at a kiosk. That's not service, that's shopping. But the screen still asks you for 25% while you're standing there feeling like a terrible person if you hit no tip. It's psychological warfare disguised as generosity. So here's my alternative. I tip generously when there's actual service. A server who took my order, brought my food, checked on me? Absolutely. 20%, sometimes more. But for counter service where I'm doing the work, I confidently hit no tip without any guilt. And if I'm picking up takeout, I'll leave 10% max because someone did have to pack it up. Since I started being intentional about this, I'm saving around $50 a month. That's $600 a year that I was giving away out of guilt, not gratitude. Now, let me ask you directly. How do you feel about tipping in 2026? Is it out of control or am I being unreasonable? Drop a comment and let me know. All right, number 2 is subscriptions on autopilot, and we are all guilty of this one. That streaming service you signed up for to watch one show and forgot to cancel, the premium meditation app you used twice in January and haven't opened since March, the cloud storage upgrade you don't even remember purchasing, the music service you're paying for even though you use the free Spotify version on your phone. It adds up so fast you don't even realize it's happening. Here's the reality. The average American is now paying $273 per month on subscriptions, and most people can't even name half of them. Think about that. Almost $300 a month for services you're not using. That's $3,300 a year. That's a vacation. That's an emergency fund. That's gone. I went through my bank statement a few months ago and found 7 subscriptions I wasn't using. 7. One of them had been charging me $12 a month for over 2 years. That's almost $300 for something I completely forgot existed. And here's the thing, subscription creep is not an accident. These companies design it this way. They make signing up a one-click process and canceling a 10-step nightmare buried in account settings. They're counting on your forgetfulness. So here's what I do now. I canceled everything, all of it, and I only resubscribe when I actually need something. If there's a show I want to watch on Apple TV or Netflix, I'll subscribe for 1 month, binge the show, and cancel immediately. I'm only paying for what I'm actively using. And here's a pro tip. If you have an iPhone, sign up for subscriptions through Apple Pay. Why? Because you can go to your settings, see every subscription you have in one place, and cancel it right there. No hunting through websites, no customer service calls, just one tap. This one change saves me around $90 every single month. That's over $1,000 a year. But the worst offender on this list is coming up, and it's probably costing you way more than you think. Number 3 is eating out, and specifically the lie that restaurants are still worth the price in 2026. Look, I love a good meal as much as anyone, but we need to talk about what's actually happening here. Fast food, the thing that used to be your cheap option, now costs $12 to $15 for a value meal that isn't valuable. You're paying fast casual prices for drive-through quality. And sit-down restaurants? A casual dinner for 2 is easily $70 to $80 before tip. And that's if you're being conservative. Add an appetizer or a second drink and you're pushing $100. But here's what really gets me. The food doesn't even taste as good as it used to. The portions are smaller, the ingredients are lower quality. I ordered a burger last month at a place I used to love. Same order I'd been getting for years. It cost me $35 for a burger, fries, and a drink. And when I got home, the burger was half the size it used to be, the fries were cold, and the drink was 90% ice. In 2019, that exact meal cost $15, and it was twice as good. You're literally paying more and getting less. Between 2019 and 2026, some fast food prices have gone up by 100%, double, and the experience has gotten worse. So what are we even doing here? Now, I'm not saying never eat out. I'm saying be intentional about it. When I go to a restaurant now, it's for a special occasion or quality family time. It's an event, not a default because I'm too tired to cook on a Tuesday. And when I do go out, I bring half of it home. 2 meals for the price of 1. Suddenly, that $70 dinner is covering 4 people instead of 2. But here's the real game changer: meal prep. And pause for a second because I know what you're thinking. Meal prep sounds like a lot of work. It's not. On my day off, I'll season whatever protein I'm feeling that week, chicken, steak, tofu, whatever, 20 minutes in the air fryer, and I'm done. I pack it up and everything's ready to grab throughout the week. 0 extra time, 0 stress. This one thing saves me over $300 a month, and I'm eating healthier. So yeah, that's $3,600 a year that I'm keeping in my pocket instead of handing it to a restaurant that's giving me worse food than they did 5 years ago. All right, number 4 is brand new cars. And this one's a big one. The average car payment in 2026 has topped $750 a month. Let me say that again, $750 every single month. Back in 2019, it was $550. That's a 40% increase in 7 years, and people are still buying new cars. How? By stretching the loans out to 84 months. That's 7 years. You're paying for that new car smell with your retirement. Here's the brutal truth. A brand new car loses 20 to 30% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. Not over time, immediately. So you're taking out a massive loan for an asset that's worth 30% less before you even get home. Does that sound like a smart financial move to you? The alternative is certified pre-owned. You get a car that's taken the bulk of the depreciation hit in the first 3 years, but it's still practically new. Great warranty, low mileage, and a fraction of the price. And if you're buying any car, new or used, here's the framework I use. 20% down minimum. Finance it for 4 years max, and make sure the monthly payment is less than 8% of your gross monthly income. If those numbers don't work, you probably can't afford that car. In 3 minutes, I'm going to show you the biggest scam on this list, and it's one that most people defend. But first, let's talk about something that's bleeding your budget every single day. Number 5 is the annual smartphone upgrade cycle. And this is where people get defensive because we've been conditioned to believe that we need the latest phone every year. But let's be honest, the difference between a 2024 phone and a 2026 phone is borderline meaningless for 99% of users. You're getting a slightly better camera, a processor that's 5% faster, and maybe one new feature you'll use twice. Here's the math. If you keep your phone for 4 years instead of upgrading every year, you save roughly $2,400 per cycle. That's not chump change. That's a fully funded Roth IRA contribution. That's a vacation. That's real money. And what are you giving up? Basically nothing. These phones are so powerful now that you won't notice a difference in your day-to-day life. I used to upgrade my phone every 2 years because I thought I needed to stay current. Then I realized I was spending $1,000 for features I didn't use, so I stopped. I'm on year 3 of my current phone and it works perfectly. No lag, no issues. And I've saved $3,000 that would have gone to a phone company for marginal improvements. And here's the thing. We're halfway through this list, and if you've been keeping track, we've already found over $500 a month in savings. $500, just from 5 simple changes. So let me ask you, how much are you wasting on stuff you don't actually need? Drop a comment and let me know which of these hit home for you, because the next 5 are where things get really interesting. All right, let's keep going. Number 6 is buying lunch at work every day. This is the silent killer of your budget. That quick $12 to $15 lunch from Chipotle or Sweet Green or whatever spot is near your office adds up fast. And I'm not even talking about the fancy places. I'm talking about the quote-unquote cheap options that somehow aren't cheap anymore. If you're doing that 5 days a week, that's $300 a month minimum. More realistically, if you're in a major city, you're pushing $400. $60 a week might not sound like much when you're tired and hungry and you just want something easy, but over a year, that's $3,600. And here's the kicker. That's almost enough to max out a Roth IRA. You are literally eating your retirement at lunch. Every burrito bowl is $100 you're not putting toward your future. The alternative is simple. Leftovers from dinner, meal prep on your day off, or just find cheaper options. I'm on a soup kick right now because it's winter. $2 for a can of soup that fills me up? Done. It takes 0 extra effort and saves me a fortune. And here's the thing. After doing this for years, it's just automatic now. I don't even think about it. My lunch is ready, it's cheaper, and honestly, it tastes better than most of the overpriced garbage I was buying anyway. Number 7 is going to surprise you, and that's expensive skincare. The beauty industry is a multi-billion-dollar machine designed to make you feel insecure and then sell you a $100 bottle of hope in fancy packaging. And it works. People are dropping insane amounts of money on serums, creams, and treatments that are mostly marketing, fancy bottles, and minimal actual results. You're paying for the Instagram aesthetic and the celebrity endorsement, not the ingredients. And it's not just women anymore. The industry has figured out how to target men too, with aggressive marketing about looking younger, fighting aging, and all this other stuff that makes you think you need a 12-step routine to be acceptable. It's exhausting and it's expensive, and most of it is complete nonsense. Here's what I do instead. I use a dermatologist. Not in-person visits anymore. I use a telehealth service through my insurance. It costs me a $20 copay. I tell the doctor what I'm dealing with, whether it's acne or fine lines or whatever, and they prescribe me a generic prescription strength treatment. For example, a tube of generic tretinoin, which is the gold standard for anti-aging, costs me $20 and lasts for months. The retail equivalent with a lower concentration, over $100. So I'm getting better results from an actual medical professional for a fraction of the price. You don't need the fancy bottle. You need what actually works. Number 8 is one that most people don't even think about, and that's keeping your emergency fund in a big national bank earning zero interest. If you have $20,000 sitting in a savings account at a traditional bank, you're probably earning 0.01%. Basically nothing. And here's the problem. You're losing purchasing power to inflation every single year. In 2026, high-yield savings accounts are paying 3 to 3.5%. That's not a typo. So on that same $20,000 emergency fund, you could be earning $600 to $700 a year in interest instead of $2. That's free money you're leaving on the table just because you haven't switched banks. I had my emergency fund sitting in the same bank I opened in college for years. I thought I was being responsible. Then I did the math and realized I was losing almost $1,000 a year. So I opened a high-yield savings account. It's still FDIC insured, it's still liquid. I can access my money whenever I need it, but now I'm actually earning something instead of watching inflation eat away at it. And it took me less than 10 minutes to set up. But here's what nobody tells you about number 9, and it's one of the easiest switches you can make. Number 9 is traditional cable. And I know what you're thinking. People still have cable in 2026? Yes, millions of them. And they're paying $140 a month or more for 200 channels they don't watch, random fees they don't understand, and equipment rental charges for boxes that should be free. I cut the cord over a decade ago and never looked back. The alternative is streaming services like YouTube TV. I pay $82 a month. I get every channel I actually want, unlimited DVR. I can watch on as many TVs as I have in my house, and here's the best part. I can share my subscription with 3 family members outside my household. So my sister and my mother-in-law are getting premium TV for free, and I'm still paying almost half of what cable costs. The user experience is better, the price is better, and I'm not locked into some nightmare contract with a company that makes it impossible to cancel. If you're still paying for cable in 2026, you're getting whipped off. Make the switch. It takes one afternoon and you'll save hundreds of dollars a year. And now we're at number 10, the last one. And this might be the most valuable tip on this entire list because it's money you can find in less than an hour. And that's failing to shop around for insurance every year. Let me ask you directly, when's the last time you got quotes for your car insurance or your home insurance? If the answer is more than a year ago, you're probably overpaying. And I mean significantly. We're not talking about saving $20. We're talking hundreds. Here's what insurance companies are counting on: your loyalty, or more accurately, your laziness. They know that shopping for insurance feels like a pain. Filling out forms, talking to agents, comparing coverage levels. It's boring and it takes time. So most people just let it auto-renew every year. And every year, the price creeps up a little bit. 5% here, 8% there. Nothing dramatic enough to make you take action, but over 5 years, you're paying 30 to 40% more than you should be. The longer you stay with the same company, the higher your premiums get. They're not rewarding you for being a good customer. They're charging you a lazy tax because they know you won't shop around. New customers get the discounts. Loyal customers get screwed. So here's what I do every single year. When my insurance is up for renewal, I spend 30 minutes getting quotes from 2 or 3 other companies. Then I call my current provider and I say this: I've been a loyal customer for X years, but I have a quote from Geico or Progressive or whoever that's $500 cheaper for the same coverage. Can you match it? 8 times out of 10, they can. They have retention discounts they can magically apply to keep you from leaving. And that 30-minute phone call saves me over $80 a month. If they can't match the quote, I switch. Simple as that. 1 hour of your time every year for $1,000 in savings. That's the easiest money you'll ever make. So there you have it. 10 things I stopped buying in 2026. And if you add it all up, we're talking about over $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. And here's the pattern you probably noticed. This isn't about deprivation, it's about being intentional. It's about refusing to accept the default just because that's what everyone else is doing. You don't have to pay premium prices for worse experiences. You don't have to fund someone else's business model with your guilt or your exhaustion. And you definitely don't have to keep bleeding money on things that aren't making your life better.